ABC News Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
And good morning to you. It is time for Coffee Ann on ON Radio. It is President's Day. It's Monday, February 19th. Thanks for joining us. My name is Joe Callahan. Melissa Murray is here. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everyone.
And Woonsocket City Council President John Ward is here.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, all you presidents out there. Happy day to you.
It's their day, right?
It's their day.
It's their day. All right.
Well, you're council president, so
I am.
theoretically it's
There
your
you go.
day as well.
It's my day, too.
Well, nice of you to be here then, John. But how come you're having a city council meeting
and best
tonight?
of health to Jimmy Carter.
Yes. How come you have a meeting when it is a holiday?
It's a holiday.
Federal
and
holiday.
I think the collective bargaining agreements traded it off for something else at some point in the past.
Because you're right, because the library's open today.
Library's open. They're collecting trash up in
They
the
are.
Barnon section.
Okay. I think it's to
City
have.
Hall's open.
I
We're
think
having a meeting.
I think it's to have the Friday after Thanksgiving
It
off.
might be the Friday after Thanksgiving. It might be Good Friday. It might be Rhode Island Independence Day. It could be
Okay, could be anything.
all
Right?
kinds of things.
Okay.
But in any case,
We'll get to the meeting.
it's
in,
one of those situations where when sockets open, others are closed. I
Yep.
think Lincoln closes on
Do they?
President's Day.
Okay. We're going to get to the Woonsocket City Council meeting. Did you have your hand up, Melissa? No?
No, I
Okay.
said no.
All right.
I was like,
Get to
I
the
don't know.
Woonsocket City Council meeting in just a minute. A couple of things before I want to bring up. But it was loud and deafening on social media last night because the NBA All-Star game was last night. Do you know what the final score was? If you do,
The People's Choice Award one?
no. This
I have no idea.
Melissa's not going to know the final score.
I don't know.
The East won, so yay, because the Celtics are in the East. 211 to 186.
Wow.
And people are screaming, why are we even having this game?
The pro football now does a flag football
That's
game.
right. So, as you can tell, defense is not played because someone might get hurt. And so if that's the case, then they were like, let's stop having this.
Right.
So they have a 60-minute slam dunk contest.
Basically.
Well, three-point contest.
As soon as you bring it over the half point,
Slam dunk and three-point
as soon as you bring it over the half point line there, half court. All right, back up. All right, it's yours. It's a free basket. So go do what
wonderful.
you want. 211 to 186. It's not even fun to watch. And I didn't. So, but I started seeing that on social media last night of how high the score was. So I had to check this morning
For
to see
sports
what the final
enthusiasts, it's
score
almost
was.
as painful as political aficionados watching a
Debate.
Hollywood award show.
Oh, did you watch the People's Choice?
I just like 5-10 minutes of it.
I didn't catch that either.
I didn't know it was on.
I don't know whether there was anything political about it. Probably not. They're getting better at getting out of that, but it was only on the E channel and not on a network channel.
I thought ABC had it.
Did ABC have it? Oh, I don't
I don't
know.
know. Well, they
That's
have the
where I
All-Star
saw it
game.
as on E
Oh.
Entertainment Channel.
Okay.
Who knows? They're all owned by the same companies these days.
That's right. All right. The other thing I wanted to bring up, and we do have a lot of fun because the MBTA is such an easy target because things are always going wrong. But I had to use the T over the weekend,
Yeah.
and let me tell you, everything went right.
Oh,
So I want to
good.
say when things go right, they should be praised. That everything went smooth, the way it should be.
Are you justifying all of those $200,000 a year plus pensions that
Well,
the
no.
retired executives
No,
get?
I'm talking about
okay.
the physical running of the train.
nothing fell off the tracks.
Nothing fell off the tracks. There were no fires. Nothing like that. But it was, I had, luckily enough, I had tickets to the Bruins game, of which they lost. But anyway, on Saturday afternoon, and so the whole process of looking at their website, what's the easiest way to get from where I am in Mansfield to the Garden?
Take the train into South Station, then you have to
No.
switch. No.
No, and that's the way I used to do it.
Okay.
But it is take the commuter rail to Back Bay.
To Back Bay.
Get off there,
Oh,
because
then
the orange
yeah,
line
the orange
is right
line
there.
goes- the orange line goes all
right
the way
to
up
North
to
Station.
the North Station. Yes.
So it cuts out the whole South
correct.
Station and taking the red line. This is far more convenient.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
The train says it was going to leave or arrive in Mansfield at 10:19, and it arrived at 10:19.
Wow.
Well,
I'm
those
like-
trains are pretty good.
I'm like,
Yeah,
about
they are
wow.
actually.
those
They're
trains
pretty
are
good.
pretty good about that.
But
I
even
mean,
on the weekend, I'm like, oh my
I've
gosh.
always felt that if I'm trying to get to the train, whatever it says on the schedule,
Mhm.
I had better be there,
there.
or else
Yeah.
I may miss it.
Well,
On the dot.
we got into Back Bay, and I was able to purchase my tickets for the commuter rail online, which is very convenient.
Yes.
But you can't do it for the subway.
No.
You have to go up to the machines that are there and buy your Charlie card. I figured that out, and that worked out okay too. Although you can't have cash, you have to have a debit card or a credit card, and that worked just fine getting through. Waited about 5 minutes for the Orange Line train, and now we're at North Station, right into the Bruins game, and everything's fine. The only problem, it wasn't a problem. Now I'm looking at the clock, and I'm looking at the game, and the game goes into overtime, and I'm looking at the clock.
Train back home.
It's 3:30. The train I want to be on to come home 4:25. I'm like, I'm okay because I know there's another train after that, but it won't be till like 6 o'clock or so. I'm like, come on. Okay, the game ends. Getting out of the TD Garden is a nightmare. It's packed with people. We're all going for the same set of stairs, and it's slow moving. It's just you just
But
shuffle along with everybody else.
The station's right below there, right? Or right
It is right below, or it's right across the street.
Right.
Yeah. So that part's easy, but it's getting out of the building, just physically out of the building, just takes a long time. And so it was back onto the Orange Line. Charlie card worked fine. Took off and got to Back Bay with 15 minutes to spare.
That's very
And it said it was going to be the 4:25 afternoon train. It got there at 4:27. Right on time. Right at miss. It worked so smooth. There were no issues
Wow.
at all. I was
think you should
very
write
very
them a
happy
letter.
that it went so well. Yeah, that guy. What is it? Lee or Eng? I forget the head guy's name over there at the T. He's only been there less than a year. I should. I was so impressed that everything worked so well. Okay.
Although I took the train in and I took the Orange Line every day for 3 years, working up in Boston, and
Where'd you pick it up?
I'd go to Franklin,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd go either to Back Bay,
Mhm.
or I'd stop at Ruggles, and I'd jump the Orange Line there, and go to Mass Ave, because that was the train didn't stop at Mass Ave. It stopped on either side of Mass Ave, so I had to get in one stop back in. Either I'd go to Back Bay and come back, or I'd stop at Ruggles and go in. And I don't recollect that I ever had any serious problems. The only problem I had was this one day in 2001 in September when they emptied the city. And the conductors were literally pushing bodies into the train to fit as many bodies in as they could. And it was an amazing thing to watch.
You ever see them when they do that in Japan? They get out
yes, well,
they get out brooms,
That's
pushing people.
almost exactly what they were doing. They were just backing their body into
Yeah,
the door
get
it
out
could
so the doors
in
can
front of
close.
them.
Yeah,
And it was like fill every train car that as
as
many
many
bodies
people
as
as
you
possible.
can.
Yep,
Standing, sitting, laying on top of one another, whatever you have to do.
right on top of the
Because
train.
they were emptying the snow. They were emptying the city out. And it
Yeah,
was quite
yeah,
amazing. But
so-
otherwise, I'd say service was fairly predictable. I was on one train one time where they hit somebody who decided that it was
Well, that's not their fault.
time to leave the
Right.
planet.
Yeah,
No, it wasn't.
yeah,
It was a voluntary step in front of a train
Right,
thing.
right.
And even when they're going slowly, they tend to do some serious damage to a human body.
And it was a relatively smooth ride.
Yeah.
I thought so. I said, this is really rather comfortable.
Sometimes I'd go into Attleboro
Yeah.
to take a train in.
All right. All right, that's my T story. That's my NBA story, 211 to 186. So, John, we got the...
I'm so glad I missed it.
Oh, I'm so glad I didn't watch any of it. All right, Woonsocket City Council meeting tonight. What are the highlights on the agenda?
Well, there's a couple of things that need to be mentioned. One is that we're getting the copies of the letters related to the appointments to the Home Rule Charter Commission. That's for Vincent Bono, Carol Chapman, Thomas Gray, David LaHouse, and David Knabb, who is our chairman of the redevelopment agency. And hopefully they will get right to work and have some proposals to bring to the council by May so that we can approve things to put on a ballot for November, which will be very nice. Another thing we're getting is a letter appointing Christine Kutu, who is originally, I believe, from Oklahoma. No, not Oklahoma, Arkansas. She is going to be the new finance director. Christine Chamberlain's going to move back into doing the enterprise fund items. And this Christine Kutu, interestingly, she works for the state for the last 5 or 6 years, maybe 7, since she came here from Arkansas. And I have this sneaking suspicion that I actually interviewed her when she was moving back to Rhode Island back then.
Ask her.
I'm going to. I just vaguely recollect interviewing somebody from another state who was coming into the state and looking for employment, and I'm pretty sure it was her. The problem was she was highly qualified, was a great candidate, except we couldn't afford her in the position we were hiring for. So we were hiring for more of an entry-level, mid-level position, and she was beyond that by then. And she went to work for the state in a couple of capacities, and now she's interested in working for the city as a finance director, and my instincts tell me that she will be a great finance director. Then we have a series of claims that are coming to us for damages done to cars, because I guess there were situations with potholes and such when Manville Road was being repaved. The city was repaving it on behalf of the state, and then the state was reimbursing the city. And as it turns out, apparently we may be responsible for the damage to the cars that was done instead of the state. Normally you'd have people apply to the state. Now they're applying to the city for reimbursement. Then we have a whole series of reports that are coming to us for the monthly reporting, which is nice to see, and they're in good form. People can go online and look at any one of them if they choose to. And it also includes, interesting, a city assessor's report on the 8% law and how much we're losing money on that. And Senator Murray was with us when we had this conversation. We're into it for about $750,000. I saw there was an article that I read recently about the Providence people fighting over the similar situation, where I guess one of the bigger benefactors of this is Joe Paolino, who gets full 8% treatment for all of his property, even though it may be a mix of all kinds of regular rent, residential, higher rent, affordable, not affordable. And he's got some commercial property, but I don't think they allow it for the commercial component. In any case, he said he has pretty much warned that this would slow down his development of properties in Providence. So I guess now I understand where this all comes from. It's like I suspected, the investors with very deep pockets and big piles of money in their savings account, taking advantage of the those who want to do well by people who can't afford to rent, and so they pass laws that benefit the rent component, but at the same time make rich people even richer.
Yeah.
And so this really fits into things like taxing the poorest the most. Really.
This is what drives you crazy, right, Melissa?
It absolutely drives me crazy, Nick.
So
Dave loves it when I bring it up.
If you go against it, then they punish the poor by not making affordable housing, which makes the person who goes against it in the legislature look like they're arguing against affordable housing.
Yeah.
And they're happy to buy advertising, framing it that way. And then when you go into a campaign, you get the black and white pictures and all the nasty headlines about opposition to this, that, and the other thing. That's the nature of politics. It's disgusting. Now, we have some unfinished business. We have some appropriations of rescue plan funds and opioid settlement funds to do certain things. One of them is a construction of the stage at World War II Park for that's going to be approved, I'm sure. Another is to buy some equipment using opioid funds for the police department, having to do with some really scientific stuff about detection that I don't know the details of, other than the police department has located this equipment, and it is to be used for something associated with opioid use, and so they're going to need it. We're going to buy it using those funds. And then into the new business, which is rather extensive, we have 4 items that automatically have to be tabled. 2 of them related to appropriation of additional money. For one is a Visit Woonsocket campaign that's to be done, and the other is having to do with, again, putting on the agenda a reduction to the appropriation for the salary of the planning director. And then there's 2 that are being tabled for zoning amendments that will be required to be tabled for a public hearing and referral to the planning board for recommendation. Those will just be set aside for the week. And then we have some pilot agreements with Community Connecting for Children and Families and with the Head Start program that we've spoken with them. And they are prepared to deal with these pilot agreements. There is also going to be, an appointing of Rufus Bailey as a member of the Zoning Board of Review. He's previously served in that capacity. He'll be appointed again.
All right, on that note, hold it right there.
Sure.
We'll take a quick little break right here, and more of Coffee and is coming up. Please stay tuned.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
We're local and live at 99.5.
It is Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us on this President's Day. Joe Callahan with Melissa Murray and John Ward. John, just going over the agenda for tonight's Woonsocket City Council meeting. What's next?
A little bit left. We have 3 reappointments. One is for, as I said, reappointing Rufus Bailey. Then another one is Lisa Casafaro to be a member of the Woonsocket Harris Library Board of Trustees, to be reappointed along with Judith Potter, who both serve in that capacity. And then Michael St. Germain is a member of the Board of Tax Assessment Review. Then there is a resolution in support of enabling legislation in order to have the Woonsocket City Council codify its personal exemptions for real and personal property. And that came about during the meeting in my conversations with the tax assessor, where I challenged our tax credits that we put on property tax bills, not because I didn't want them, but because I couldn't find anywhere in the law that they were allowed for. And I know that the city has no legal authority to tax or give credit without state legislation. And so the assessor put together a package, and he's put together legislation to submit to the General Assembly to take care of cleaning that up. That's something that's been missing. Another one is to ask the General Assembly to amend the laws to allow the city to tax new real estate construction. And I guess the way that's set up is when they passed some laws several years ago, and I know it affected us in Lincoln, if the building didn't have a CO, that you couldn't tax it, even though it was 98% complete, not lived in, and it's sitting on the lot. We had one in Lincoln, I think, sat there for over a year and ended up going through 2 tax cycles where we couldn't tax the property, even though the house was almost fully built.
But
It's
not
crazy.
quite.
It's framed up. It's got all the utility stuff hooked up. It's got the drywall in. It's got the door frames.
But
it's
no
got
one's
the
living
windows,
there.
but nobody's living there. And then it sat there for a year and 3 months. So
all
for
right.
2 cycles, we couldn't tax it anything, and it was just sitting there as a house. It finally but this would take care of that, where you could prorate the amount of the value or tax for the value.
And both of those bills are in.
And then another General Assembly one asking for the state asking for the General Assembly to allow us to tax our social club organizations that we constantly doing these renewals of pilot agreements with at a specified 50% in perpetuity, simply as a matter of general law, so that we don't have to go through this negotiation every 3 years. The other one is to name the bike path coming through Woonsocket, the Albert P. Valier bike path. And if anyone knows Al Valier, and I remember seeing Al Valier many, many places, he was heavily involved with downtown improvements over years in committees, and lots of organizations were in and around the city. And he was also very, very committed to fitness, personal fitness, and would encourage it and would do it himself, and was a heavy user of the bike path. And so the senator, I guess has asked us to do this, and we're going to put that on the agenda tonight. Then we're going to appoint Donald CP, who's always been our tree warden for many years, to be the tree warden, because the law says you have to have a tree warden.
Okay.
Then the solicitors asked us to hire another firm who specializes in zoning and planning law to be the person to represent the city at those meetings at an hourly rate that's actually a little less than his hourly rate based on what he's doing. And so, because it will take him away from having to get involved in all the minutiae associated with that, while he's trying to deal with all of the other nonsense he's trying to clear up from the past for us. And so that's on the agenda also. And then there's just comments from the Public Works Director talking about plans, the next set of plans for the Cass Park complex, the bids for construction projects, the water treatment plant award that they received, and some equipment purchases for the Public Works Department. I'm going to be questioning the status of the 2023 audit of the Mendon Road property, because I've got a couple of responses from attorneys interested in completing the compilation of the organization of the information we've received and preparing a report on what they suggest our next steps be in terms of investigating this. And then Councilman Thompson wants to address previous and upcoming property tax abatements and tax appeals, because we received a report from the tax assessor on the tax abatements over the course of the last 2 years. 2022, 2023, and a little bit of 2024, and we've abated $3,123,944.44.
Wow,
That's a lot of issues.
that's a lot of.
So he's just asking why.
And the biggest
think
reason,
that's
what is
what-
it,
I
they were
think that's-
taxed inappropriately? I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, the assessed value, this goes.
There are many
They
reasons,
were
right?
abated
Coded.
now, but they go back to 2015, 16, 17, 18, mostly after 17 when the new firm came in and did the full revaluation in 2017. There were just a lot of issues on the commercial property values, some of the larger property owners. This is very similar to what happened when Susan Menard first came into office after the revaluations were done on commercial properties in the late 80s. And then they were litigated, and Francis Langto never actually settled them or agreed to settle them, and they were being fought in court, probably a little more regularly there then. And when Susan Menard came in, it was pretty clear that we weren't going anywhere. Like anything with these valuation issues, it gets into a courtroom. Judges, sorry to say, judges just hate making decisions. They always tell the lawyers, go back and come
Work it
back
out
to me with a
yourselves.
settlement.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in
I don't
picking
want
a
to do
side.
it. Yeah.
Go make a settlement. And so I think Susan Menard recognized that, and I don't remember exactly how much, but it was several $1 million that we actually had to float a bond to settle out those accounts.
That's awful.
And this is a similar kind of thing, where the revaluation was just so distorted from reality, and every appeal seems to be getting won, or being sent. It's been now 4 or 5 years being nothing having happened. And so it's time to get these things done and put behind us. And in doing so, you try to recognize what a fair settlement is. You make the settlement, and you end up accumulating a quick $3 million, and there's more to come. But it'll be important to have this behind us, and
Yeah.
it's a lesson in how not to do tax assessing. And I got to tell you, I've met with the assessor, Mr. Pagliarini, and had conversations with him about philosophy of how you do these things, and he recognizes the difference between some tax assessors who think it's their job to raise money for the city by doing strange things, as opposed to those tax assessors who recognize that the job is really to assess the full and fair value across the city, such that the burdens of the city's government can be equitably distributed, period. That's it. It's not about making judgments about who can give you more money or where you can get more money because they have deep pockets or they're rich or they're this or that. It's set the values properly based on market conditions, and then we distribute the burden and call it a tax bill. That's the right
Right.
way to do it. It's not always make everybody happy, but it's defensible in court. And that's a nice thing.
So pretty extensive agenda for tonight.
Yeah, and then we have a couple of closed sessions. We have a session before the meeting.
Oh, that's right.
Where the special master is looking to discuss with us the eventual sale of the property on River Street, or something to do with how we're going to settle it out, take ownership and put it on the market and deal with that. Because we have an abutting property that we're going to be buying up and closing on that touches it, that'll incorporate into that lot and provide us opportunities there. And then at the end of the meeting, we're into closed session about acquiring some property related to development of the public safety complex and how we can go about doing that. So we'll start with a closed session, we'll end with a closed session.
So it could be a late night for you people.
It sounds
Not-
like a
not-
late
Not
night.
necessarily. It
Yeah.
depends on how much debate and discussion
All right.
we get into. Maybe not. We start at 6 after all.
No, I know. A little bit earlier for
Bring
you.
your margaritas.
So when does the first executive session, does that start at 5?
5:30.
5:30, okay. Is there someone in the executive meetings that's watching the clock saying, hey, the public meeting has to start at 6?
That
and-
would be my job.
Well, that's your job. Okay. So, all right. Okay, we're going to wrap it up.
President, as in preside over.
Yeah. Okay. You don't farm that out to somebody else?
No.
You watch the
No,
clock.
I got a clock up on the wall right in front
Okay,
of my
right in front of
face.
you. Okay. We have to.
I do the same thing with my little timer when people come up for good and welfare, and I set it for
Oh, do
5 minutes.
5 and go?
And I say go, and then when it gets to 5 minutes, I start waving at them, making gestures, and then when the next person comes up, I reset it to 5 and go. And try to be diligent about it.
Should have one of those air horns. Yeah. 5 minutes is up.
I was thinking of doing the
5 minutes is generous.
I was thinking of doing the red, yellow, green light bulbs thing.
And then people don't pay attention to those.
No.
Even in the base, they don't pay attention to those. All right. Well, okay. Well, have fun at your meeting tonight.
Oh, you bet.
All right. We did have a note that was actually emailed into me. Football season's over, in case you haven't noticed. So now we're on to the Red Sox.
Wait a
Spring
minute,
training
who
has
won the
begun.
Daytona 500 yesterday, or did it get rained
Nobody
out?
got rained out. It's running today. Now it says Joe says everybody's 0-0 at the beginning of the season. Well, that's I'm the master of the obvious.
And actually, the only reason I remember the Daytona 500 was because of the response to your saying,
Yeah, football.
let's move the football season, and someone said, you can't do that, Daytona
It's
500.
weekend. That's right. So, all right. It just says everyone's 0-0. My optimism is compelling, but has no backbone to it. The Sox have lost Justin Turner. Alex Verdugo, even though I said he was a cancer to the coach, hogwash I say, was a very productive hitter. Still could be a cancer. And an excellent defensive outfielder. I didn't say he wasn't a bad baseball player. I said he was a bad person in the clubhouse is what the issue is. They must pick up a couple of impact players. I know they made a trade over the weekend that didn't make much of an impact, though. Realistically, the season looks dim. Hey, they have done nothing so far. Okay, well, I will say this. The 1967 Red Sox were supposed to be lousy. They were supposed to end in last place.
Yes.
And they went to the
Because
World
they-
Series,
Because they
so-
did the year before.
Right.
It was always a
They were-
race.
they were garbage.
It was always a race to the bottom between them and Cleveland.
But the 67 Sox did very well. But people thought they were going to be lousy. So, hey, you never know. Always got to have
They
faith at the beginning of the
rejuvenated
season.
Robert Goulet's career.
They did? How'd they do that?
He sings The Impossible Dream.
Oh, that's just, you're very right there, John. Okay.
Man
So-
of La Mancha came around again.
You never know who's going to have a breakout season. You never know if a rookie's going to step up and have an amazing season.
Who'd have guessed that some
you just never
dentist
know.
would win 20 games?
That's right. He wasn't a dentist then, though.
No.
It's Jim Lonborg who's a player for the Red Sox. I got a good Jim Lonborg story. 'Cause I met him in person once.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. All right. I'll tell that when I come back. It's time for a look at the weather forecast being brought to you by Unbound.org.
Sunny skies today with a high of 36 and a breeze from the northwest. Tonight, clear skies, overnight lows of 14 degrees. Tuesday's weather sunny and 35. Wednesday, sunshine and 39. Thursday, sunshine and 44. Friday, a 70% chance of rain is likely, cloudy all day and 46. Saturday, sunshine and 35. And next Sunday, sunny skies and 40 degrees.
Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street with sunny skies, we have 33 degrees. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own at unbound.org.
Today, funeral practices and rites vary greatly among cultures and religions, so it's important for a funeral director to assist family and friends in arranging a service that is appropriate. The Esteparo Memorial Chapel welcomes people of all faiths into their beautiful Victorian-style funeral home. Sue DePardo and her staff will make you feel comfortable in discussing all the details that are so important during this stressful time and fulfill the wishes of the deceased, family, and friends. The Esteparo Memorial Funeral Chapel, 1583 Diamond Hill Road, Woonsocket. Sue DePardo, President. Please call 767-5577 to discuss pre-planning.
JB Liquors is more than just a liquor store. It's your friendly neighborhood liquor store. That means you get personalized service as well as a great selection of beer, wine, and spirits. JB Liquors has everything you need from everyday brews and table wines to craft beers and single-barrel whiskeys. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 7:30 to 10 p.m., Sundays from 10 to 6 p.m. JB Liquors, your hometown source for beer, wine, and spirits since 1979. 1117 Social Street across from O'Reilly's Auto Parts in Woonsocket.
Hey, it's ON Radio's Cruisin' Bruce Palmer, and I'd love to have you join me every Saturday for the Saturday Block Party. We start at 4 o'clock when I open up the ON Music Vault for you to pick whatever you want to hear or send to somebody special. Yes, the good old radio request days are back. Join me for the Saturday Block Party, Saturdays from 4 until 7 on ON Radio and streaming online at woonsocketradio.com.
Thanks, Bruce. All right, it is Coffee and here on ON AM and FM on President's Day. Joe Callahan here with Melissa Murray and John Ward. And John, I'll tell you my Jim Lomborg story.
Oh, okay.
Way back when. Remember CompUSA?
I do.
All right, I was working for CompUSA at the time, and I was working over at their business desk. I forgot what we actually called it. But anyway, one of the salespeople brings Jim Lomborg up, and though he looked familiar, I wasn't quite sure it was him. And then they mentioned that it was him, and I said, "Boston Red Sox, Jim Lomborg?" "Yes." "Oh, it's nice to meet you," and like that. And he was buying a laptop computer at the time, and so. I go to ring it up, and back then laptop computers were almost $2,000 at the time, if not a little more. And he gave me his credit card, and I ran it through, and it got declined. I had to decline Jim Lomborg's credit card.
Wow.
And he did the only manly thing. He
Took out another one.
No, he blamed it on his wife. To save face with me, I guess. And then he took out another credit card. Here, try this one.
Wow.
So that's my Jim Lomborg story. So great to see you. Oh, big fan. And and again, great season. Okay. No good.
When you get that message, oh.
The 67 Red Sox, this was called in at 766-1240. The 67 Red Sox, 8 teams for each league. You with your league, wow. 8 teams for each league.
I thought it was 10.
In 67?
67? Was
I
it 8?
don't remember. I think
The
it was
caller
8.
said it was 8.
Okay.
Might have been 8.
With your league, you go
You win
on,
your league. You can't read my writing.
Oh,
You
yes. Basically, American League, National League.
Okay. Oh, you win. You win your league.
You go to the World
You go to
Series
the World
directly.
Series. Today's ladder is much more difficult to climb.
Yes.
I agree. You're right.
Yes.
With the wild card. And,
Sorry, with
and
my
like that.
my poor
That's okay.
penmanship. No Palmer method there.
All right. The man who allegedly robbed a store in Bellingham, and
Yes.
then escaped
Jumped into a car and yeah, all
took off
that.
into Woonsocket. He is a
Yep.
Woonsocket resident. They arrested him over the weekend. Made it all the way to Lowell, Massachusetts.
Wow.
I don't know how they found him up there, but they arrested the guy. 41-year-old Agapito Davila.
Maybe one of those cameras caught him.
Maybe. He's wanted for armed robbery in Bellingham on February 10th. He was involved in a motor vehicle crash in Woonsocket shortly after the robbery.
Yep.
When he crashed, he took off, and the,
Yep.
and the police couldn't catch him. They said, "Well, all right, we got pictures of you, probably from the convenience store."
Mm-hmm.
And
They found him in Lowell.
and I guess he got. The police know more about you than you think.
Oh, yes.
And we know where you go,
that's funny 'cause I-
especially if you got a record.
I went to Lowell on Saturday.
Oh, did you?
I swear I had nobody in the car.
It's like Tim said last week when we talked about people going in and actually robbing banks or things like that. It's like, are they crazy?
The
with
cameras are
all the cameras?
everywhere.
Yeah.
There's cameras there. There's cameras on the street. You watch these TV shows now, and they got all these public cameras in places that are picking
Yeah,
stuff up.
CCTV and
Outdoor
yeah.
cameras that people put on their buildings. And you know, I don't know what people think they're going to get away with. But
I don't know.
But they ain't.
If you notice real quick, I've seen it on different financial institutions. The door you're coming in, if you look at the door jamb, it's a height thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they can tell.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
That's
there's
exactly
a picture
what
being
it's for.
snapped right
Yes.
away.
Right.
We know exactly how tall you are.
How
Yeah.
tall you are. Yes.
And
Oh, I've noticed that.
okay, I have too.
Right about the same time they started coming out with signs on the door that said
No hats, no
no
sunglasses,
hats,
no hoods,
no masks,
no masks.
no hoods,
Yeah.
no sunglasses.
Please.
Please, yeah. And we'll kindly ask you to leave.
All right, he's gonna face charge. So he's got the robbery charge. He's gonna be in Milford. Not today; it's a holiday. Tomorrow to be arraigned on that charge, but then he's got the motor vehicle crash back in Woonsocket that he also has to face.
And then he ran away.
Then there's running away. Yeah. Okay. So there was that incident, and then there was another incident out in Burrillville that involved a man from Woonsocket who was they were trying to pull him over, or they did pull him over for speeding, and when they got out to the car, the cops had a hold of the door, and he took off, and now they dragged the police, 2 police officers, not too far, and they did suffer minor injuries, scrapes and like
But again,
that.
there was a camera in the police car, I'm sure.
Oh, always.
They have the registration. They know who's in the car.
Well, he's unregistered and uninsured.
That doesn't matter. They'll find him.
Well, they did, and not a valid driver's license. All 3 strikes and you're out. All right, they pull 10 p.m. on Friday night for speeding. So no license, unregistered, uninsured. Now he's resisting arrest and took off. Dragged the officers with him for a short distance, but I believe they're continuing their search for him. So
This is one of those
they'll track
things I
him
think
down.
when they drag them into the police station, finally they should allow police officers to sit there, point at them, and laugh uproariously.
Maybe
for
they
how,
do.
For how dumb they are.
They should be able to do that. That's not against your civil rights, is it?
I don't know. Maybe it is.
He
I
laughed
wouldn't-
at
You know
me.
what? I wouldn't
Maybe
be a
he
bit
thought-
surprised if they sued him.
It's a funny joke.
They ridiculed me.
Yeah.
And that's
That
I'm
hurt their
innocent.
feelings?
I'm innocent until proven guilty. They don't have the right to ridicule me until after I'm found guilty. And if I plea bargain down, they lose the right to ridicule me.
Back to the 67 Sox. Yes, there were 10 teams in each league.
10, that's
Not
what I
8.
thought.
Okay. And the Yankees finished 9th that year. Okay.
Then that must mean Cleveland finished 10th. Because really, my recollection was
They battled for the
Boston
bottom.
was always in a race to the bottom with Cleveland before that.
All right. Mass got a lot of money in gambling tax revenue. You know how much Rhode Island gets?
Each year, not off the top of my head.
No. All right. Massachusetts got over $40 million in tax revenue from gambling operations in the state. That's during the month of January. State's casinos reported $93 million in revenue for the month, with sports betting firms collecting more than $70 million. What a windfall that is.
Ain't bad.
Nearly all of the sports betting activity in the state during January was conducted online. The state has now collected over $100 million in tax revenue from sports gaming since it launched in Massachusetts a year ago.
I believe ours is down. I get a little report that I get sent to me every month.
Just on sports betting or just
and
gambling in general?
everything, like specific games.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's because I think a lot of the people that went to Twin River were from Massachusetts. Now we don't have to go there anymore. We got our
Right.
own we can go to. And if we
Right.
can do it online, we don't even have to leave the house.
That's right. As long as you're within the
Yeah, the radius,
GP.
right?
Yep.
You can do it. All right.
I was wrong.
On what? Cleveland?
Cleveland wasn't in last. It was the Athletics that year. Then it was the
Okay.
Yankees above them, and then you ready for this? They actually changed it
They
to
did?
the Guardians
Oh, even
on
though
the
they,
67
even though they were the
standings,
Indians
even though
in
they were
67.
the Indians then. Sorry
All
to
right.
interrupt.
That's
Go ahead.
okay.
Sorry.
Well, things are getting a little rambunctious down there in Providence when you have to call the police to a school board meeting. because they're trying to merge the 360 high school and the Juanita Sanchez school, even though they're in the same building. And,
It's not going well.
It is not going well. Well, a lot of too many people showed up, and you can't all fit in the room. And now they're out in the hall and they're creating a ruckus and like that.
Because they can't hear the meeting and.
Yeah, it was beyond legal capacity when they left an overflow area, complaining it hindered their ability to comment. Parents, teachers, students spoke in opposition to the planned merger of the two schools at the end of this school year. The district has said 360 High School has chronically underperformed, leading to the merger decision.
I have to
There's
say,
something-
I think the Rhode Island Department of Education has some issues they need to work out. They're not
With that school in particular, or just
No,
in
in
general?
General.
in general. It's a much more.
That's a very kind
it's
statement.
a much more global statement, but I think it's manifesting itself clearly and well with what the things are, with the things that are going on in Providence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's here in Woonsocket too, but they're missing something. They're not seeing reality. With whatever lens they're looking through, they're not seeing reality.
But don't you think in this particular instance,
In
this merger is a good thing? If this one school is chronically underperforming?
Merging
And
is
they're in the
not
s-
a
they're in
solution.
the same building,
Merging's a method.
Yeah.
What's the solution?
Well, the solution is they're going to merge. The problem is
To do what?
to up the scores of the 360 school. But the problem
And how does going to the same building do that?
well, it does.
Right.
It doesn't. But I think what they're most upset is that a number of teachers that are teaching the same course are going to be let go.
Okay.
We don't need
But
7
wait a
gym
minute,
teachers.
That means you're going to have teachers that have smaller class sizes where they can theoretically provide better educational service to each individual student. Now have half of them let go, and the teacher that's left behind has a much larger class, which means they'll be disrupted more often, and they will not be able to provide the close to as more beneficial.
It's not going to be half the
Close-up
teachers
care.
are being let go.
No, but some of them.
Some will be.
Right.
Well,
But again, how does increasing class size in a heavily urbanized school setting improve performance?
but maybe they can go from.
You don't have an answer for this. I know you don't.
Well, maybe they can go from if there's 4 classes of biology, maybe we can jump it up to 6.
All right.
Okay, now we need 6 teachers of biology. Oh, we have 8.
But
All right, 2 have got to go.
The
Okay,
testing
that's
measures
a cost
reading.
savings measure for,
Well, yes.
right, that's not a
That's a cost
improving,
savings.
right. They're looking at money. They're not looking
They're
at
using
scores.
performance as an
Yeah.
excuse to
Right.
impose cost savings.
Yeah.
The cost savings do not improve anything.
Except
the-
cost.
and
Except
by
your
the
bottom
way,
line.
I hope if they would do that kind of consolidation in things that involve reading and math, which is what the test scores measure to decide whether or not you're underperforming, then how does increasing class sizes in an urban setting improve performance in critical areas that are being measured? And I can tell you they don't. And it wasn't, I was kind of joking when I said you don't have an answer because nobody does.
Right.
Or there are some answers, but they're not the things that the Rhode Island Department of Education is investing in Providence. And this is an example of it. So it may be a logical thing to do, but it only works if they take the savings associated with the lesser cost of physical plant and administration and maintenance consolidation and turn it into something that's more meaningful and directly beneficial to the students in the classroom. That's not what they're doing.
Maybe they are. We're not down there to listen to it.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm just saying.
that may be a possibility.
Yeah. It's just a lot of people showed up at the last meeting, and
Let me see.
Providence Police had to be called.
1995 to 2025 is 30 years. It has not been my experience
All
in
right.
30 years.
All right. The public in Rhode Island is being warned about a scam targeting taxpayers. People are getting notices that they owe taxes from they think is the Division of Taxation. Channel 12 is reporting that Nina Savage, she's the tax administrator, said the division notifies people by mail regarding a tax debt before they call. So if you're just getting phone calls without getting the mail first, don't listen to them.
I don't even know why the Division of Taxation would call. They
No,
should just
and
do
they
it by
don't.
mail.
They don't call.
I,
Well,
I
they-
would say, assume even if it were the Division of Taxation,
It does say before calling.
tell them where to go. They shouldn't do business that way.
Yeah,
Send me
yeah.
something in the mail.
Yeah.
Well, they do first. I don't know, but I
know.
don't know why they're calling.
No, I
after
know the
the
But they
Division of
wouldn't
Taxation
call
does,
for
but I'm saying if you
payment,
get a
though.
call, and if you
I
get a
think
call
they
from someone
are.
claiming you owe taxes, the first thing to say is, I don't care. Send me a letter,
All right.
and hang up on them.
According to the story, the division notifies people by mail regarding a tax debt before calling. So there are people trying to collect over the phone.
So if it's a legitimate call, you'll know it already because
You
you've
should know
gotten
it.
the piece of mail.
Right. Okay, more of the Coffee and program is coming up. Please don't go anywhere.
Big banks offer you everything these days. Bank from home, bank from your phone, even apply for a loan from anywhere you are. It's called Big Bank Tech, and it's pretty cool. Did you know you don't have to go to a big bank to be pretty cool? Navigant Credit Union offers their members all the big bank tech without the big bank. And if you want to come into a branch to see us, we'll make you feel like you own the place, because you do. We think that's pretty cool too. Navigant Credit Union, member NCUA.
Hi, everyone. This is Bill Schneck with the Autumn Fest Steering Committee. I am very happy to announce that on Thursday, February 22nd, there will be a benefit dinner at Cello's Restaurant, 490 Clinton Street, here in Woonsocket. Take your family out to dinner at Cello's or order takeout to enjoy at home from Cello's, and up to 20% of your dinner order value, excluding tax and tip, will be donated to Autumn Fest, Inc. Please pick up your free Autumn Fest dinner certificates for Cellos at this radio station, WOON Radio, 985 Park Avenue here in the city, or any member of the Autumn Fest Steering Committee. One certificate will cover your entire group. Certificates will not be available at Cellos that night. I look forward to seeing you and your family down at Cellos Restaurant for dinner on Thursday night, February 22nd. And as always, I greatly appreciate your ongoing support of Autumn Fest. Thank you very much.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
It is Coffee In on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us on President's Day. This is Joe Callahan here with Melissa Murray, and John Ward is here as well. And for those of you who like to keep track of these kind of things, the First Lady is going to be in Massachusetts tomorrow. Jill Biden is scheduled to fly into Logan tomorrow night in advance of an event Wednesday morning where she'll be in Cambridge.
Teaching?
No.
Oh.
The event is linked to the White House initiative on women's health research led by Jill Biden that was launched last fall. So it's kind of teaching, right? The initiative is designed to close the healthcare research gender gap involving conditions that affect women. So she's not it doesn't sound like it's a money
No.
fundraiser for her
But
husband.
it sounds, it sounds legitimate because I was watching Lively Experiment this week, and there was a discussion about women's health issues and prenatal care and things. And I heard an interesting statement made. And the statement was, I almost died because though I was telling them something was wrong, I wasn't heard. And for me, I don't get that. Because to me, medical professionals, one of the important things they do is listen. Because the clues are not necessarily your physical condition every time, it's what you're saying to them. And anything you're telling them should at least be
Considered.
checked out a little bit and
Yeah.
considered. And to have somebody of a woman, of all people, who's pregnant, telling you something is wrong, how could you possibly be a person that's a physician and not check it out? Do something.
Have you heard any stories
Our
like
mo-
this?
many.
And-
Many. Our maternal mortality rates in Rhode Island are in the bottom third of the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's not acceptable. It's not at all
so
acceptable.
whatever it is she's going to Cambridge for, this legitimacy to the statistics about the quality of
Yep.
care that women get, and especially minority women get.
Yeah, especially.
And
yeah.
I honestly, I just, I hate to say it, maybe that's the bias that I come with because of where I come from and how I grew up and where I grew up and when I grew up, but I don't get it. It's unfathomable to me that a pregnant woman could go into a physician's office,
Complain about
say
something.
something,
Say something is wrong.
and
Have it
literally
be dismissed?
have it be dismissed
Yeah.
as not sufficient to consider testing for. just to find out what it is that's wrong, other than, oh, just take some Tylenol, you'll be fine, or whatever may have been said to this woman.
It's all in your head.
I mean, I remember when I went
Condescending.
when I went into conversations with the doctor about the open heart surgery. I think one of the things that was so impactful to me about the conversations was just that he was literally listening to me. He wasn't dismissing anything. He was explaining things to me, because what I was identifying were things that he was fully aware of and had responses to that were appropriate to what I said. And was able to respond to my wife's concerns about what was going on and what they were going to do. And, obviously he had done this over and over and over and over again, because many people come in for open heart surgery. But he didn't dismiss anything. They don't leave anything out.
Yeah.
They did have to have the cardiac catheterization to check the arteries to make sure they were clear or blocked, to see if they needed bypass. They went through all of the procedures. Why? If I had brought something up, it would have been checked out.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't get it. I don't really understand what's going on there.
Yeah.
And pregnancy is so medically complex. There are so many things that can go wrong. And pregnancy is, it's silly to say, but it's true. Pregnancy is dangerous. Think about
Can be, yeah.
Well, when you consider the mortality rates back,
before
the 20th century.
Right. This is a serious, very medically complex situation. So if a woman says, something is wrong, I don't know what it is, but I don't feel right. Oh, well, you're having a baby. It doesn't feel, it's not supposed to feel right. No,
something's really off.
Something is, you have to trust.
But it doesn't even have to be a big thing, just a little thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to Baltic, Connecticut one time with the family, and my grandmother was born in Baltic, and when my grandfather was coming up out of Philly after emigrating, went to work there and met his future wife, my grandmother, and we went to visit Baltic, and we went to the cemetery and saw some of the gravestones, and sure enough, there's one there that's my great grandmother or something or other, and there's her name and her husband's name and 3 children under the age of 2.
Yeah.
That are buried there with them.
Wow.
Out of, I don't know how many children they had. But that was just normal life. Just mothers died in childbirth regularly.
And children
Children
died regularly.
Died within the first couple of years
our,
of life.
Our child mortality rates aren't that great either. They're not as bad as our maternal mortality rates, but even 1 year postpartum, even after you have the child, it's your body's going through a lot, and it's you can have a lot of issues, and it needs to be taken seriously. And I think maybe if a woman dies within the first year after, that is considered maternally related.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be.
All right. Well,
It's not as extreme a condition as though if you had COVID in the last year, you died of COVID, despite the fact that you had a brain tumor.
that's right. All right, John, we're going to have to get together and pool our money. All right.
Really?
And
What are we buying?
This is what we're going to buy for Melissa for this coming Christmas. All right.
Is it a kitten?
No. Former President Donald Trump is launching his own line of
those
sneakers.
They're sold out.
Sneakers.
Well, we've got plenty of time for them to come back in. Trump announced the launch on Saturday while attending SneakerCon in Philadelphia.
It's good that it's called Sneaker Con.
Yes, that's appropriate.
He told the crowd he's wanted to do this for a long time, and he thinks the shoes will be a big success.
Kind of like his vodka or his steaks or his university.
Don't get excited. They're sold out.
The line called Trump Sneakers is available for pre-order and features 3 pairs of shoes ranging from $200 to $400.
But they're sold out despite the fact
Well, now that's why you got to
Yes,
pre-order them.
right.
$400 ones are.
The website selling the shoes also features a perfume and cologne on sale for $100 each.
The gold ones are sold out.
Right.
All right.
Oh, they're
399,
hideous, aren't they? Did you see them?
1,000 pair limited run, $399,000
Oh, they're
of
hideous.
sale.
They're like
The gold ones, yeah, I
gold
saw them.
lame
With the
or
flag
something.
thing on the
with
side,
the, yeah,
and a
with the
big
big
T on the side.
I just thought it was
But
an award of some sort he was getting. I didn't know it was a line of shoes.
The funny thing is, this is the weird thing about Trump. Go on Google anybody that's out there, go on Google or after the show, type in Trump sneakers, and you will see some from 2020.
Okay.
This isn't really new to him. He's just using it as a distraction and a promotion and an opportunity to say
Well-
to get suckers to spend money on sneakers to help him earn money outside of campaign money, so that he can pay his lawyers and pay for his settlements that he has to pay
$355 million.
when he finally
That's a
finishes
lot of
when he
sneakers.
finally finishes his appeal, which will probably have the dollar amount knocked back pretty substantially. But it's he's just trying to pay his bills, and he's using this as an excuse to get marketing.
I think it's funny.
That's the kind of guy he is.
Former congressman from New York, George Santos,
Yes.
is suing Jimmy Kimmel, the talk show, the late night talk show host, for allegedly misusing Cameo videos on his late night talk show. The lawsuit, filed in New York on Saturday, claims Kimmel requested at least 14 videos from Santos on the website Cameo. This is where you pay, and they'll do a little happy birthday or happy anniversary thing for you. Okay. Kimmel requested 14 videos on the site where celebrities sell personalized video messages. Kimmel allegedly used, quote, phony names and narratives, unquote, and sent requests from fake user profiles. The lawsuit claims Kimmel chose personal use licenses for the Cameo videos and allegedly started using them on Jimmy Kimmel Live in December. Kimmel is being sued for copyright infringement, fraud, breach of contract, and unjust enrichment. I've never heard that one before.
You never heard of unjust enrichment?
Unjust enrichment, no.
Oh, I've heard of that.
It sounds like fraud, but it's just another way.
It's a form of fraud.
All right. Yes, Melissa.
So let's rewind a little bit.
All right.
So I can request George
you-
Santos to sing me a happy birthday message.
Something like that, yep.
And yeah. Okay.
So then if you use it like here, and we get money from it or whatever, I guess.
Well, if you're earning money from
yeah.
it,
Then he's
of
going to
course
sue you.
Right. Well, if he gets paid for earns money from his show, but
The-
don't you pay for the service
I
and you
think
don't own
you
it
do.
after that?
Yes.
well, you do, but he may be selling you the right to view a copyrighted material that you don't have a right to then use again. I do know someone locally whose son was is a huge wrestling fan, and actually you can have these wrestlers, professional wrestlers, do video birthday messages to kids.
Like a
And
Hulk Hogan or a
pay
Ric
money,
Flair.
you
Yeah.
pay money for it, and they do it. But I think what you get from them
Is
is
copyrighted.
very restricted in terms of what you can do
Only
with it.
you can
can
see
show
it.
it to your kid.
You can show it to your
mention that you
friends.
Play it
got
at
it. You can
home.
mention the service, but you can't really
But
show
don't-
the video again unless you get their permission, I would think, because it's copyrighted material.
So it's for your own personal viewing.
It's like if
And
you go rent a movie, you
Their
can't go
image-
show it and collect
See,
money
in their case,
Okay.
their image is trademarked. I don't
Right.
know whether George Santos has trademarked his image.
Maybe
I don't
he
know.
has.
I don't know who would pay money to use it. But,
Be surprised if he had.
Moving on. Let's see. An investigation's underway after a substitute teacher in West Covina, California, was caught allegedly viewing inappropriate images on his cell phone while on school premises. The West Covina Unified School District says they took swift actions after reports from students. Maybe they took a look over and see, what are you looking at? The teacher at Cameron Elementary School, it wasn't even the high school, it was an elementary school, was removed from the classroom, and both the police and Child Protective Services were called to investigate.
Yucky.
it's like there's bad employees everywhere. But when you take the numbers across the whole country and measure it against the total population of teachers, it's probably a minuscule percentage. And you just make sure the ones that get caught don't go back and do it some more. Like they do with criminals in New York, where they collect them and throw them back out on the streets.
4 middle school students were hospitalized after ingesting marijuana gummies at school. I think this is going to go up and up and up. The incident happened Wednesday at Pfeiffer Middle School in New Jersey. According to officials, the kids were reportedly zoned out, then taken to the hospital. In a letter to parents, the superintendent claimed a student got the retail cannabis product from a parent. The superintendent went on to say the district will take steps to stop students from eating anything, anywhere, other than in the school cafeterias. You can eat them. You can eat the gummies in the school cafeteria and still have the same problem.
It's a mad
Mad world.
mad world.
It is.
I'm just
it is,
thinking
it's-
of,
it's-
like the cart that goes around that it has, snacks and lunches for kids who don't get it at home. Like, you're going to stop that because, it's crazy.
You ever see there's a sitcom on called Abbott Elementary School?
I've seen
Yes,
the
I haven't
commercials, I
seen
have
it,
not
though.
watched it.
My daughter kind of turned it on to me, and some of it's pretty funny. And there was a guy a teacher brought in snacks. Like he made like fried cucumbers or something like that because the school didn't have time to make it. So he went home and made it. He gave it to the cook. He said thanks, and he threw it away immediately. Health code violation. I can't take anything from you.
Well, at least they got it right.
That's pretty funny. And the teacher's like, "What are you doing? I worked hard on that."
That's the law.
No,
Makes sense.
I can't serve this.
At least they didn't do something that would get people the wrong idea.
Right. That's right. All right, we've got to run. We've run out of time here on the Coffee and program. Thank you very much for listening in. And Melissa Murray, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and John Ward, good luck with your
Pleasure. See you
meeting
tonight, 6 o'clock. And
on the nose.
Happy President's Day.
happy President's Day.
All
Mr.
right.
All you
President.
presidents out there.
All right, this is Joe Callahan. Have a great day. Stay tuned for Leslie Page at the library. Karen Zangari with Food First is coming up next here on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. The public is being warned about a scam targeting taxpayers in Rhode Island. Scammers are claiming to be from the State Department of Taxation, telling people that they owe taxes and they'd better pay up to them. Channel 12 TV News reported tax administrator Nina Savage said the division notifies people by mail first regarding a tax debt before they would ever call.